Yo, what is going on guys? AGL here, and today I am back with a new video. This time we're going to be talking about Kid Buu's pressure and mix-up, which is the main thing that makes him so ridiculously strong. We're gonna have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. The main thing that makes his pressure so OD is his 5S and 2S, because they allow him to have many layers in his strings, and also they're very good for frame trapping. So, for example, let's take this block string. Now, this block string is a mix-up in itself because there are so many options to do after the 5S. This is where the mind games come into play. If they respect your pressure, they will just hold the 5H. But if they try to hit a button or super dash you, you will hit them with the 5H. And even if they reflect your 5H, you're still safe. Or, as I said, you could frame trap them by delaying your 5H. So if they try anything, like backdashing or jumping, you could punish them for it. Now, you might be saying, well, I can just block his 5H and then take my turn. Well, the thing is, you can't. Because, first of all, if you decide to commit to blocking and wait until he hits you with his 5H, you're getting conditioned into respecting his pressure. And if the opponent notices that you're just blocking, he will just reset the pressure with his 1M or 2L because you're trying to take your turn after the 5H. And even if he hits you with his 5H, it's still not your turn, because Kid Buu still has his 2S in his bag. So if you decide to super dash or mash after it, you are going to get punished by a 2S followed by his EX ball, for example. So even then, it's extremely risky to try and take your turn. Well, you could technically backdash after his 2S and avoid his EX ball. But the problem is that if he doesn't go for EX ball and decides that he wants to reset his pressure, you are going to get punished for backdashing. And if you decide to just commit to blocking, you'll get resetted all over again. So there is always a risk when going for any options. There's also the risk of getting 2H'd if you try to go for the reset after the 2S. But again, the problem is that if Kid Buu uses his EX ball instead of trying to reset, you're going to get hit because the EX ball punishes the 2H. So that's why resetting pressure with Kid Buu is so strong, because he has so many layers to his pressure, so you can't decide to block forever because you'll get resetted and eventually opened up, especially when we're talking about Kid Buu. And if you decide to take risk, it's very difficult to get out safely without getting punished for it. On top of that, it's very easy for Kid Buu to stop his pressure safely, like for example after his 5S you can just backdash since it's only -3 on block. So you could easily escape and could even punish your opponent if he's mashing after the 5S with a 2M. And this is much stronger in the corner. And the thing with Kid Buu is that you want to show all of this to your opponent. You want to show him that you can do all of this stuff so that when he's blocking, you're making him think of so many other mix-ups that could come, which makes it easier for you to open him up with things that are much easier to block, like 6M or a Dragon Rush in a very obvious position, for example. And especially online, most people don't block, or they just give up pretty early and start reflecting, mashing, or vanishing. So why Kid Buu is so good is because he can easily punish those things effectively. And if you keep on punishing your opponents for those things, you're conditioning him into actually committing to blocking, and once you get your opponent into the mindset that if he hits a button he will be punished for it, you will have much more room to work with because you'll get to reset your pressure easily, and you're kinda winning mentally in this confrontation. And the crazy part about all of this is that you haven't even used your assists yet. Alright, so now we're gonna talk about his 4-way mix-up mid-screen. So this is the setup for it. Now, this setup is used quite often, but there are different variations to it, because not every assist will connect with the 5H variation. So for example, assists like the DPs won't work because they'll either whiff or they will not give you a true mix, like Adult Gohan for example. So you'll need to be aware of your assists in order to make this mix work with them. Now, for this mix, I would recommend learning the Super Jump IID because it will make this so much more scarier to block. So for those of you who don't know what a Super Jump IID is, this is a normal jump, and this is a Super Jump. The difference between the two is that with a Super Jump, you can control how fast you're going. If you hold down, you will fall faster, and if you hold up, you will land slower. And side note, if you jump after the Super Jump, you could control your character in the air. It's very important for movement, so make sure you practice it. Now, with the Super Jump IID mix, you get a very ambiguous 4-way mix-up, and if done correctly, it will open your opponent. Yes, I said if done correctly, because if you do it too early, the cross-up protection will block your mix. So you will want to be between 3 and 6 frame advantage in order to beat cross-up protection and also frame trap your opponent. So make sure to delay your Super Jump IID in order to make it work. Now we're going to talk about his mix in the corner. While you can do the IID mix in the corner, it's not as strong as in mid-screen because there are no cross-ups options, and there's just a way better mix to go for, which is the EX ball mix. In the corner, you can jail with EX ball if you 2S before it. So it becomes a true 50-50 that cannot be reflected, and it only costs half a bar that you will get right after, even with the most basic combo ever. And that's what's strong about his mix and his pressure, is that it's like a cycle that doesn't end, because he builds the meter he spends to open you up with benefits, and so he can keep pressuring you over and over again. Alright, that's pretty much all I had to say about his mix-ups and pressure. It does take some time to get good with his pressure because, yeah, you can work on it on training mode, but you'll need the in-game experience to get a better idea of how to react in certain situations, and he focuses heavily on baiting the opponent's habits. So he requires you to be very reactive and really paying attention to your opponent's decisions. And the more you'll improve, the more the character will give you in return. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.